What the heck is Formula One?
Pole position, strategy,
yachts and parties,
safety car, Ferrari.
beautiful corners.
Oh, right, okay. There's a car in front of you. Try and overtake it.
Oh, I hate you so much.
Hello, you fools. Welcome back to another Formula Fools podcast. Skin, we've got a flick. We went for a coffee.
Oh, yeah.
It took us, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
In that 15 minutes, did we come up with a new name for the 34 and 34?
No, we did not. And I just realised that as we started recording.
So did I.
Wonderful. 34 and 34 is starting to sound good, though.
Yeah, it's coming. It comes back around, doesn't it? It comes back around.
I think we could be onto something there.
Yeah, we
34
could.
and 34.
Fuck yeah. That's literally how we came up with the Formula Fools name, if you remember. I think I threw out Formula Fools, maybe. And we're like, we'll sit on it for a bit. And we recorded our first episode and was like, yeah, we'll just call it Formula Fools. Yeah, well, it's starting to sound good.
Yeah, and you need a name by the time you release an episode.
That's so true.
So just whatever the best one you've got at that point is, look at it.
I think it was when I came up with Hello You Fools that you and Lee were like, that sounds good.
I don't think I would have ever said that sounded good.
He did, sure. Trust me. Guys, who do you believe, me or Skin? Probably Skin. What is 34 and 34? If this is the first episode you're listening to in this series or ever from us, 2026 is obviously is going to be a big year of Formula One, new regulations for both the engine, the aero. We've got new teams. We've got new drivers. No, we've got old drivers returning with Checo and Bottas. So what we wanted to do before this season gets going is we wanted to break down all 11 teams, all 22 drivers, and also give you a review on this year's cars and liveries and aerodynamic phenomenons that we're seeing with the car launches. And that number came to 34. So we're doing 34 episodes in 34 days leading up to the new season. And that's what you're listening to right now. This is episode 5 of 34. This week, we're going to be talking about Williams. I'm David. I call myself an expert, but let's be honest, who really knows? I get a lot of things wrong or I forget a lot of things. And this is Skin, my co-host.
Hello. Yes. And I'm definitely a fool in terms of Formula One. I think that's the idea. Well, yeah, you call yourself an expert, but it's more just like Dave has followed Formula One his whole life. He's loves it. He froths it. And he's got at least some ideas and opinions on most things Formula One related. I had never even really looked at it at all or known anything about it my entire life until I met Dave and he talked about nothing else. Yeah. And so I've got millions of questions and I can just sort of pick his brain. So that's the idea of the show.
That's how we came up with it. I think one of the best moments of finding Formula Fools was we were on a little retreat with We Got the Chocolates and we were all in the pool and I started talking at you about Formula One. And then 10 or 15 minutes later, I look around and realize everyone has left. Everyone has left because they don't want to hear me talking about Formula One. And you're just still stuck there with me because I'm looking you in the eye. And so I think that's kind of, I badgered you enough for you to be like, I'm going to just watch a race.
Yeah. And I got sucked in somehow. I don't know what it was, but somehow I kept, I feel like I don't know. In so many other situations, I would just be like, fuck off and go away and leave me alone. But for whatever reason, I kept asking questions. So,
my proudest moment was getting a DM from you where you sent me a video and then asked me a question about the video. And I was like, oh my God, I've done it. I've convinced him.
Yeah, I suppose so. So here I am, booked.
So here we are. So this week we're going to be talking about Williams.
Today.
This
week we're talking about 7 teams.
Yesterday was Ferrari. Tomorrow's Racing Bulls.
Exactly.
It's 34 and 34 Skin. Yeah, obviously we're not idiots. Today we're talking about Williams, or to be precise, Atlassian Williams F1 Team, the best team on the grid, the 2026 world champions, potentially, in my opinion. I would love it to happen in my wet dreams. And my favorite team, for anyone that doesn't know, that's why I have a blue cable. When I saw blue and purple, I was like, well, I'm having blue. Yeah, we should have got you an orange one.
Okay.
Yeah. Road, come on, do better. I mean, we bought these. We could have just bought an orange one.
I was going to say they probably have other colours. Yeah.
Yeah, they have orange. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's cool. But yeah, they're my favourite team. They, why do I support them? I get this question a lot because Williams have not been good for...
Ever.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, sorry.
Williams have not been good for a long time. On Skin's Stag Books weekend, the night you go on before you get married, other countries call it different. One of your friends sat there and was like, oh, Dave, you're an F1 fan. I was like, yeah. He goes, who do you support? I said, Williams. He just goes, for what possible fucking reason? And everyone just starts pissing themselves. It was not a fine moment of mine, but the reason is, and to answer everyone's questions, my I grew up watching Formula One. My granddad, my dad were massive Formula One fans. So watching Formula One from a very young age, the team in the 90s, well, one of the main teams in the 90s was Williams. Like we won a lot of championships back then, and my dad was a Williams fan. And so he just kind of passed on the gauntlet to me. So I kind of just grew up watching them and loving everything about them. There was a little bit of time there where I was a big Force India fan. And I was like, I like Force India more because I love Nico Hülkenberg. He was a Williams driver and then went to Force India. So I loved the way he came across. I don't know. There's just something about it. The family aspect of it just pulls with my heartstrings. And I love everything about this team.
I see.
Makes me so happy.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. It's amazing how much you like Williams.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's almost childlike. Like I remember being a little kid and like following cricket and being obsessed with cricket and like a diehard cricket fan. And I was so excited about it. And probably same with other sports too, like rugby league. I was massive on when I was like 12. And then I don't know what happened when I got old, but I just like don't really care anymore. It's like, I watch cricket because I enjoy it. And it's like, oh yeah, this is nice. I'm having a good time. But like, I'm not obsessed with like Australia winning, for example. Like, like during the Ashes, I was getting so fucking sick of watching Australia win. I was like, please, England, someone make some runs so this can be an entertaining game. Whereas like you've somehow remained like a diehard about this team and like you're like obsessed with the team. And it's, I don't know, it's a cool passion to see. I wish I had that in my life. I
think it's very funny because during college, when I was doing film, was probably my only dip in watching Formula One. Like I would still watch every single race, but like if I missed a race or two, it wasn't that important to me when I was in college. You know, I was a teenager, blah, blah, whatever. But like during that time, I was still, every time I would see Williams do anything, I was still like, fuck it. Like a Williams documentary came out and it was playing at an independent cinema in Sheffield in England. And I was like, I have to fucking go to this thing. And I go on my own, and I was the only person in the cinema. No one else went to watch this fucking documentary. Like literally, I went in, asked for the Williams ticket. You couldn't buy online at this place, so I asked for a Williams ticket, and the person behind the desk looked shocked that someone had bought a ticket to this documentary. It was a very small cinema in the arse end of nowhere in Sheffield, so I don't know why they were playing it. It was so random, but. Yeah, even then I was still just like a massive diehard fan of Williams, and I think my obsession has gotten more as I've gotten older with them. I think like the last 5-6 years, it's really hit a different peak. Okay. Since James Vowles has come on, let me tell you, that man just does things to me. Okay. Anyway, Williams are... What was that?
I said, hopefully that's not true.
Oh no, it is. Williams are obviously a British-based team based in Grove, Oxfordshire in United Kingdom. They've got a very boring-looking factory. It's quite old. I think I spoke about this in a previous episode. It's not a big flash or anything, but what they do in that factory is just, beyond magic. The men and women that work in that team.
They make mediocre cars.
I'm officially resigning from the Former Fools podcast until Skin apologizes for that comment.
Yeah, we've been 20 years.
Mediocre is quite a compliment to the cars we were designing in 2019, 2021. So yeah, I'll take that. We were founded in 1977 by Frank Williams, obviously. That's how we got the name. Frank made the team, named it after himself. Mm-hmm. Fucking weapon. Constructors titles, we have 9 of them. So McLaren winning the last 2 years has really upset me because they are now ahead of us in the historical Constructors title championship list. Ferrari are top with 16, McLaren in second with 10, and now us in third with 9.
Okay.
And our most recent one of them was in 1997. So any Gen Zers watching who didn't know the 90s exist, yep, I'm still holding on to the glory days.
Holy heck, 1997.
Yep.
They haven't won anything in the 2000s.
No, whoa. We won races.
No one cares about races. Well, I mean, some people probably do.
I do. We've not won a championship since 1997. I mean, up until McLaren did in 2024, they'd not won anything since 98. Like, they'd not won a Constructors Championship since 98. True.
I suppose the 2000s have been dominated by like...
When you look since 2000, teams. It was Ferrari.
Yeah, there's like 3 teams.
Renault. Okay, Braun was a one-off, but then Red Bull, Mercedes, and now McLaren.
Yeah, not many people.
So in 26 years, we've had like...
Yeah, I suppose that's not as amazing.
6 different Constructors winners.
It does just feel like a long time, 1997. Yeah. Like I was born in 1997. They haven't won in my life.
Well,
Wait. What month would they have won?
like November, December, like
Okay,
October,
so they've
November
won
time.
once in my life, and I knew nothing about it.
Wow. I remember it, obviously. I was 1, so I remember it well.
Shut up.
Drivers most associated with this team. This was quite hard. We've had quite a lot of drivers, but it was hard because I immediately went to this name and then realized, oh, he was our champion in 1992. Nigel Mansell is, I would say, the driver most associated. Like Lego have historics, like Lego F1 historics kind of collection out. They've got the Senna with the MP44. They've got Mansell with his 92 Williams, and they're about to release the Schumacher with, I think, his 2004 Ferrari. So yeah, when you think Williams, I think the most iconic driver for me is Nigel Mansell. He had a lot of amazing iconic moments, but that era for Williams was just it was a very dominant era, and Nigel was just like British driver, not scared of getting his elbows out in a British team. Frank Williams was still, team principal or running the show, their CEO, whatever he was at that time, and yeah, it was just a very fucking good era for Williams.
All right. Okay. You mentioned yesterday Nigel Mansell's also driven for like Ferrari and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
What do you mean?
Has he driven for anyone else?
Williams,
Ferrari.
Williams Ferrari. Did he drive from? I don't think he drove for McLaren. He would have driven for other teams like potentially Lotus and some smaller teams like that potentially. But Williams and Ferrari would be the teams he's most known for.
Okay.
Williams being the team he's most associated with, especially the yellow, blue, white Williams. When I think it was Renault we had back in that day, with like the Canon logo on the side and everything like that. Oh, iconic livery. Like this one is very iconic, but the Williams, the 92 Williams, I don't have anything. I've got the Williams racing hat. I need to bring that one more into frame, don't I? Move this one. Move these around.
Okay.
Come on, Williams. But yeah, very iconic.
Right. So we're saying Prost, the most iconic Williams driver. Who else is
Prost?
Mansell, sorry.
Prost did win in a Williams.
Yeah.
Dominated
okay,
in a Williams in 93.
That's why I was thinking about Prost. So who else so if Mansell's the most iconic Williams driver, who else has driven for Williams? So Prost has driven for Williams.
Prost drove for Williams in 93.
So has Senna, even though those two
died in Williams.
Yeah. But those two were versing each other. Like their big rivalry was at McLaren.
Mainly McLaren, and then McLaren for Senna, Ferrari for Prost, because he got sacked. Not sacked, he left McLaren and then went to Ferrari.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Prost has done some driving.
We also had Jacques Villeneuve, who was our 97. Wait, Jacques Villeneuve? Yeah, Yeah. Am I going crazy? Is it Jacques Villeneuve?
Like that's a person.
Yeah.
I thought the 97 one was Damon Hill.
No, Damon Hill was 96.
Ooh.
Yeah, Damon Hill was my year of birth. Yeah, Jacques Villeneuve, fuck me. That was a brain fart and a half. I should have locked it in. I should have been more confident. Jacques Villeneuve was our 97 world champion. White hair, Canadian, just fucking great guy. I mean, quite controversial when he's on Sky Sports at the moment doing his punditry. Okay. He said some rogue comments. So, yeah, great guy back in the day.
Okay.
I agree with a lot of the stuff he says nowadays. He's controversial like me. But yeah, we've also had people like PK, like Nelson PK has, okay. Again, I'll have to preface that we don't agree with everything Nelson PK does or says. Some fairly racist comments towards Hamilton in the last 6-7 years, I think. So we don't endorse any of that. Great driver in Williams back in the day, though. And yeah, just a lot of like very strong. I mean, Senna's another one, but a lot of very strong, big name drivers for our team. Unfortunately, not so many since the 2000s. We did have, like in more modern day history, Felipe Massa, Valtteri Bottas, Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon, great drivers. We'll ignore Nicholas Latifi, George Russell. We'll ignore that other Canadian guy, American guy, Logan Sargent. We'll ignore that guy. Hülkenberg. There's been quite a lot of drivers that have gone through the Williams team.
And done well in other cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they get
Nico
something
Rosberg.
faster,
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we've had a lot of world champions drive for us before they became world champions. Oh, that's quite sad. Rubens Barrichello was also another big name that drove for Williams for a little bit of time.
World champion in something else?
No. No, never. He was Schumacher's teammate. He was like a world champion. He should have been. He was a very good driver.
Okay.
Yeah, very good driver. Anyway, enough talking about we've got a whole section talking about their iconic people. You know what? We'll fucking skip to that because we're talking names at the moment. Frank Williams is obviously another iconic name in the team. He founded it. Patrick Head is a co-founder and engineer behind like the start of Williams in the 70s through to the 80s, 90s success. Patrick Head was a very big part of Williams being what they are and having all of the success that they had. He was there for literally all of the success. Maybe not in the late 90s, but he was certainly there in the 80s and 70s, 80s and early 90s. And then another big name would be I fucking forgot his name the other day as well. Adrian Newey. Adrian Newey designed quite a few cars in the early 90s, including the 93 car we mentioned with Prost winning the World Championship. Controversial car. It had active suspension, so you could program the suspension to read the curbs and the movements of a track, meaning that it just had unbelievable traction. There are clips of Prost versus Senna in the McLaren where McLaren didn't have the active suspension and Prost would just exit a corner and just be like a second ahead of him. And they could be side by side going into the corner. The traction was just unbelievable. Adrian Newey was there for that. I don't know how much of a hand he had in that active suspension. I think it was more of a technical thing. But he designed that car, which aerodynamically was also phenomenal. Unfortunately, he also designed the car that killed Senna. And he lives with that still today. So Newey and Williams's history is equal parts successful as it is dramatic and sad. But he's a very iconic name with the team. And hopefully, I mean, I would say already he's kind of cemented himself already, but time will tell whether we can fully say this. James Vowles is a name that should go down in history as an icon for Williams and hopefully the person to bring us back to the front end of the grid, whether we win championships or not, even to just get us to finish in P5 last season. If we can progress any further up this season, you know, he deserves to be on the Hall of Fame, in the Hall of Fame for Williams. He's done phenomenal things for our team.
Well, I assume you're going to launch into sort of you've been breaking down each of the team into like a few different areas that they've had. Mm-hmm. So I assume you're going to launch into it and tell us a little bit about the start of Williams. And yeah, so you're obviously obsessed with Williams and always talking to me about how great they used to be back in the day. And I've never seen any of it. So they've been obviously been very mediocre for 20 odd years now. But what was Williams like starting? Like they had early success. They came in as a team that wasn't like, they weren't a car manufacturer. They were just a pure sort of racing team. So why were they able to find success early? Like I assume they always would have been, you know, if they were family owned, I assume they always would have been fairly under-resourced back in the day. Like what was it about Williams in the 70s, 80s that made them better than other teams that allowed them to win the championships that they did?
It's a great question. And I love that you've asked this because I didn't write all of this down, but you just reminded me of a Claire Williams interview, who is Frank's daughter, that she did quite recently. I think it was on the High Performance podcast. And she spoke about them early days of her dad starting the team and things like that. And Frank was a wheeler and dealer. Frank was, if you've ever seen Only Fools and Horses, he was a Del Boy and Rodney. Like he was a car dealer by trade. That's what he did. He would buy and sell cars and repair them and things like that. And he was just known as a bit of a scrounger. He would live on his friends' sofas and make stupid bets that he could do stupid things in a car. Like, from here to London, it's going to be an hour. Like, I bet I can do it in 55 minutes or something like that. And, you know, make stupid bets and do crazy things. And also beg for parts and beg for tools and beg for mechanics and really fucking grafted. Like, he rolled his sleeves up and really worked hard to get the team off the ground. And yes, they were underfunded and they were massively out-resourced by the likes of Ferrari and McLaren, who were that just had a lot more money at the time and were able to use their pockets to be able to buy world championships in the sense of hiring the best engineers, buying the best components and parts and materials and things. So yeah, they weren't founded on any. That, you know, unlike all of these other teams, even Red Bull, they had no product. They sold nothing to be able to go racing. So Frank would, every penny he earned after feeding his family, he would then put every single penny into the Formula One team. He would buy new parts. He would pay for flights. He would pay for race entry. He would do all of that just to go racing. It was his passion. And he just had such a love for it that if he wasn't going to go racing, he probably wouldn't have done anything else. Like if racing didn't work out, he probably would have just ceased to exist because this was what he was literally put on this earth to do. And so, they were very underdog and they had to fight for everything. And in the late 70s, going into the early 80s, he like had to convince other teams. Like the first car they put on the grid they didn't build the car. He had to, he bought, I think, a previous year car off of another team and then just went racing with that car until they could actually win some prize money, get some more funds to be able to go racing. The legendary years for them. So that was kind of era one, is all of that, is the wheeling and dealing, hustling to get the team off the ground. Mm-hmm. Era two is kind of their golden era, and that's from the early 80s through to the late 90s.
Okay.
This is where they won all 9 of the Constructors Championships. They had crazy drivers, crazy driver names going through the house. Like there's stories of Frank and his wife having Nigel Mansell stay over, and Claire tells these stories of she'll come downstairs and there's just 4 racing drivers that have been sleeping on the sofa or in spare bedrooms or whatever, and it's the likes of Nigel Mansell and PK and Prost and things like that, because Frank wants to have business meetings with them. So this kind of golden era, Frank's number one thing was, we're a family-run business. If you want to be a part of this team, you need to be a part of this family. So spending time at the house and spending time in the team and really understanding that this is a family-owned business and this is a family-run team, not just a money-making organization that's going to churn out championships and money and whatever. So that was a very big thing for him. But in terms of on-track things that happened during this time, they really just, to answer the question that you asked about fucking 10 minutes ago before I went on this rant of how were they able to compete with the likes of Ferrari and McLaren, it was that they were just smarter than them. They would just do things. They would treat their employees, and we're seeing this a lot more nowadays. This is kind of becoming a bigger trend with the likes of McLaren, Mercedes, and Williams again. But they treat their employees like that family, and they inspired people to want to be smarter and be better for the team. And so people that worked for Williams were, to bring on Adrian Newey in the late 80s, early 90s. It was the start of his career, but still you're getting a very smart person involved in the team. And he fully invested in that family culture and wanted to do better for the team. And, when Senna died, he really took it upon himself and really took that to heart, because everyone in Williams was a team member. It was a family member first. And so when you had a death in the team, it wasn't in Williams's case, like we spoke about Enzo Ferrari's mentality of he would replace a driver like that. In Williams's case, we would mourn deaths. We would mourn the drivers that left, or that, whether it was from death or just, moving on to a different team. And I think during this era, we just outsmarted the competition, I think, in every way.
Okay. With what in particular, how, what literal technical things were Williams doing that was smart? You've already mentioned active suspension.
Yeah, active suspension in 93
didn't win them 9 world champions.
One. It was illegal the year after.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So what else were they up to?
It was just the small things. It was all of the little things of just making the cars lighter, making the power of the cars faster, bringing on the right engine at the right time, bringing on the right strategists at the right time, the right drivers at the right time. We just outsmarted people. And a lot of this was down to Frank and Patrick Head's management style. They just knew the people that you needed to get. They knew when and where to invest people, instead of saying, I can't point at a single thing during the 80s and 90s go, that's the thing that put us there. It's people. We knew where to put the right people.
Okay.
And I think that's what we've struggled with since is, especially after the Schumacher dominant era, is late 90s, early 2000s, money became a very big thing in Formula One. And the more money you had, the more success you were going to have. And certainly during Claire Williams's era, which kind of leads us into the era 3, which we're still kind of currently in, which is the early 2000s, the early, the noughties, the 10s, and going into the early 20s now. All of that era was defined by money. The teams that had the most money won the most championships. Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, they all had the most money during their dominant eras. They all won the most championships. Williams just couldn't compete with that kind of money. We were still family owned through till 2021, I think it was. 2020, we were still family owned. And through that time, when you're family owned, you struggle to bring on bigger sponsors. You don't have corporate, we don't sell cars like Ferrari. We don't sell drinks like Red Bull. We don't have any tangible thing that can give us financial benefits. So we rely on sponsorships and prize money. Yep. And that's like it.
Yeah, okay. When did budget caps come into Formula One to sort of try and level that out a bit? That
was in 2021, I think. It gets confusing because COVID, it was supposed to come in 2020 and then COVID delayed it with the ground effect regulation. So I'm not sure if it's 21 or 22. Right. So I think that might have gotten delayed by 2 years, but it was around that, the early 2020s.
So right up until then, teams like Ferrari could just spend as much money as they wanted on
testing, aerodynamics, and wind tunnel time as well. That came a thing probably around the same era where, you had limited wind tunnel time. That was probably in the 2010s, but then timing on that is a very, like when I talk about Ferrari being in P4 versus P2, it could be better for them with developing the car this year. That timing of how much time you're allowed during a season in a wind tunnel, that's very new as well.
Okay.
Like last few years.
Okay. Couple questions. Firstly, less to do with Williams and more to do with F1.
Yep.
I struggle to wrap my head around this whole budget cap thing.
Yeah.
I can understand if you're a diehard Williams fan and you've been obsessed with these people who were so good in the 70s and stuff. You want to see them competing and doing well. You want the field to be competitive. You don't want Ferrari spending bazillions and just winning by minutes and yada, yada, yada. But surely, like, if the sport is about sort of engineering and performance and finding the fastest cars possible, surely there's an element of like, you want to find the fastest car possible. Yep. And in order to do that, you want people to spend as much money as they can or they're happy to bring on the best engineers and do as much testing as humanly possible to make the fastest car. Yep. And then if that means only a handful of companies with billions and billions of dollars like Ferrari are competing in this thing, then so be it, sort of thing. Like, wouldn't that make for the more entertaining sport? Why bring in these budget caps that seem to like just make it leveler but slower?
Okay. I've got a few analogies for this one.
Sure.
Because I think it's quite a complex answer. So my first one is going to seem fucking crazy, but diamonds are made under pressure, right? So to get something as beautiful and as amazing as a diamond, you have to literally make them under like severe pressures that other things aren't made under, right? Like the literal process of making a diamond.
Sure.
Adding rules, in my opinion, especially tight rules like what we have now with a budget cap and everything else, means that we're daring engineers and technicians and manufacturers to make things under a massive load of pressure because you don't have unlimited time and budget. So actually, like putting these restraints in place, we've seen different developments, and I would argue better developments in the last 4 or 5 years than we saw in the previous 15, 20. Because unlimited budget just means you're kind of just going to rest on your laurels. You get lazy with it. You go, oh, this worked last year. Yeah, we'll just say, yeah, we'll improve it. But now it's like, we can't go and sit in a wind. We can't make something on a computer in a CAD machine or something, and then go and fucking test it for 150 hours and go, oh, that didn't work. We'll start again. You've got to go, we've got 100 hours in this thing and we've got to make the entire fucking car. Let's make sure we do all of our research, let's do all of the background work we can possibly do before we jump in there. And let's make sure we're doing this as efficiently as possible. So that's, in my opinion, that's how I look at the budget cap, is it brings out the best in people because you're limiting what they can do. And it's not like you're never going to get to the best, because year on year, everyone develops and everyone works better. And we're seeing, especially with fuels and things like that, we're seeing quicker developments in eco fuels and lab grown fuels in the last 3 years than we've ever seen in F1's history. We've never done such development on fuel than we have in the last 3-4 years. So for me, that's kind of how I look at it. Another way of looking at it is, in running, there are shoes that are illegal because they have soles in them that are like sprung loaded, or the grip on them is like ultra cushy or whatever. So you could technically everyone could run faster. So there are certain elements of that are illegal. In Paralympics, there are certain prosthetics that are illegal because they are faster than other prosthetics. So they put regulations around what prosthetics are allowed to be used. In climbing, there are a company in America who are taking old NASCAR tires because they're super grippy rubber, and they're replacing the soles on climbing shoes, because you can then literally, like on a wall, you could put your foot on it and it's going to fucking, like, you're going to be able to grip onto it way better than any other climbing shoe before. Illegal in the Olympics and everything else, because it's not in the spirit of the sport, and it's outside of them regulations. And so for me, this is where I look at our rules and regulations that are really tight, and we get a lot of criticism from people that haven't grown up in the sport or don't come from a motorsport background. And I think for me, it's just like, that's the best way I can explain it to you.
Okay. Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Explanation. I know what you're saying. Thank you. Well done. All right. That was fairly unrelated to Williams, though. So maybe we should get back on topic. The Williams decline. So this period where, so they've brought in these budget caps really only a few years ago, right?
Yep.
You mentioned, I think through the 2000s and the teens, that the sport was really defined by money. So this is pre-budget cap.
Yep.
Teams like Ferrari can just spend as much money as they can, and they were winning, right?
Yep.
They were able to win. What changed between that period where Ferrari and stuff were dominating and Williams sucked, versus the 80s and 90s where there's still no budget cap?
Yep.
So I would presume teams like Ferrari, who have more money than Williams, are able to spend more money. There's no budget cap. They can spend as much money as they like. I would have thought surely they ought to be winning as well.
It's a good question.
What's the cause in the Williams decline? They go from this period with no budget caps winning to this period with no budget caps losing.
It's technology is the number one thing. We didn't keep up with the advance of technology. The 93 Williams car was at the time the most technologically advanced car that F1 had ever seen. And when that got disqualified and then Senna died, it was kind of a knock-on effect, and that bruised us through to the 2010s. Like, we didn't catch up with technology fast enough. And I think in fact you can see this through up until James Vowles came to Williams, is that that hurt us, and we never fully recovered from them two things happening in 93 and 94. And even when James Vowles came on board, we were the only team left on the grid. We'd obviously caught up with regulation, technology advances, but I think we were just always slower to the ball than every other team, and we invested later than every other team. But our steering wheels, for example, we used to have the kind of like skeleton steering wheel with no built-in screen, and we just used to have a very small screen attached to the car, like the actual car itself, that had minimal data on the car, right? So there was a lot more. Engineers would say to like Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas during this time, for example, it would be like, right, you need to go mode 3, subsection 12, option 19. And like, they would have to talk them through it because there would be no screen to show them what they're changing, right?
Right.
When James Vowles came on board, he was like, he made a point of, his quote was like, break everything, break the mold on everything. We'd been using that same steering wheel, the same steering wheel technology and driver information technology within the car for like 12 years or some shit, because we just had no budget to invest in the new technology or to be able to put people and resources in the place to say, right, we need to actually get up to 2025 with this kind of technology. And James Vowles' break everything kind of mentality is don't do today what you did yesterday. Don't do tomorrow what you're doing today. And that's what Williams, we were stuck in that loop, in my opinion, since the late 90s, early 2000s. We were stuck in the loop of everything we did last season is good enough for this season. But everyone else around us were all looking at next season.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's where Williams that's where we declined, is that we were looking backwards instead of forwards.
Okay.
Yeah. Pains me to say it.
All right.
But yeah, great question.
Thank you, Disc.
Great question. I want to just go through, I know this Williams episode is going to be longer than all the others. They're my favorite team, so fuck you. I make the rules. I want to go through a few moments for me that are just just some of the most iconic moments in Williams' history, whether it be good or bad. So we've got Williams' first ever win in 1997 with Clay Rigazzoni. I mentioned him in the Ferrari episode. You okay?
Williams' first ever
Sorry,
win
I said
in
1979. Sorry. That would have been a weird time to get our first win after already winning 8 championships.
Yeah, and their last win somehow as well.
Yeah. Sorry, 1979 with Clay Regazzoni, which kind of put us on the map and people started to take us seriously in the very late 70s. But I think for the first 2 years, it was kind of, Frank was a bit of, running around the teams and begging for parts and things like that. I don't think we were taken seriously until we got our first win. And Clay was quite an established driver in the late 70s. He'd driven for a lot of big teams. Ferrari was one of them with Niki Lauda. And so had a good reputation for being a very fast driver. Moment 2, I wrote down here was 1992, Peak Mansell, the FW14B, the blue, white and yellow car that I've spoken about. It was just some of the most iconic races, some of the most iconic liveries, and things happened in the sport at that time. I think that was our prime. That was when I think about Williams, that's the era I think about, and most people would think about. So 92 for me was also the year my brother was born. So 92 for me, very big year. I was still negative 3, 4, so that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Huge year for you.
Yeah, huge year for me. And then moment 3, sad moment, but Senna signing for the team was a very big moment. But then shortly after, obviously joining the team in San Marino at Imola, Senna's passing was just a very big, I've mentioned it a few times already, but a very big moment for our team. Frank took it very personally. Do you know what we haven't even fucking spoken about yet on this? We've not even spoken about Frank's accident that put him in a wheelchair.
Mm.
You know what? We just need to do a Frank Williams dedicated episode, just to his life, separate from the team, from just to his life, his iconic moments.
All right, we can probably do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. Put it on the list.
Yeah.
Dave, put it on the list. That was me talking to future self while I edit this. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay. Where the team is at today. So obviously, Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz are our 2 drivers. James Vowles, our team principal. I've spoken about that. In 2024, we finished a dismal 9th, only getting 17 points. In 2025, massive comeback. I don't think anyone expected us to have the year that we did in 25. I certainly didn't. 5th in the championship, 137 points. We were having races where Alex and Carlos were scoring as a team, or even solo sometimes, were scoring more points than we got total in the year previous in one race. So it was a very good year for us. We got 2 podiums with Carlos Sainz, which was just some of the happiest moments of my life. Strengths moving forward into the 2026 season, I would say we've got a very clear momentum of where we're going. James Vowles is leading the team in a very forward direction, and his messaging has been consistent since he joined the team. It feels like yesterday he joined the team, but he's been there. This is like his 3rd or 4th year now with us. So, his direction, his management has been phenomenal, and the people he's brought on board in the last 3 years, it's very clear where we're going, and it's in a forward direction. It's hopefully up in the championship. Let's see, but that is our biggest strength, is just the direction in which we're leading. Mm-hmm. Strongest driver pairing, in my opinion, on the grid. Tell me a driver pairing stronger than Alex and Carlos.
Lando and Oscar.
Current form. Lando and Oscar, fuck yeah, okay. Yeah, that's hard to argue with. Yeah, okay. Joint best driver pairing on the grid. Yeah, that's hard to argue with. McLaren have got a very good driver pairing.
Yeah.
I don't think any other team have got a better driver pairing than them 2, though.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't disagree.
If Stroll wasn't in Aston, they would have a very good driver pairing.
Who?
Aston Martin. If Stroll wasn't there.
Then they'd have one driver.
Yeah.
It's not a very good pairing.
Well, it'd be better than if Stroll's bringing it down.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You don't really.
Yeah.
Weaknesses that we've got to look out for in 2024. We need to not lose focus of the goal, and we need to make sure that Williams need to not lose focus of the goal, and they need to make sure that they're not going to fall into previous habits and tricks and get eaten up. And they just need to make sure that they keep on this development. They need to keep the momentum going forward. It could be very easy for them, like we saw with McLaren this season. You have success. You don't want to change success, but if you don't keep moving forward, you start moving backwards by standing still. And we saw McLaren mid-season, Red Bull caught up with them. Ferrari, Mercedes won some races over they did towards the mid-end of the season. we don't want that to happen to Williams. If that was to happen, that could be the end of this momentous run, and we don't. That needs to be their biggest focus.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of it. I don't really think they've got other weak I don't think they've got any other weak points moving into 26. It's just for me, and I'm trying to be as subjective as humanly possible here, but for me, Williams are the biggest prospect of next year, of this year.
Okay. What makes you say that?
They've invested they've had a very big investment over the last few years, and the people that they've brought in behind the scenes and the drivers that they've brought in is a statement to where we've been before.
Okay.
Like, in the last 7 or 8 years, we've never had a team like we've got now from a back of house point of view, a financial point of view, being owned by Dalton or whatever the fuck the company's called, having a TP and the drivers and everyone. Like, we've never had a team this good for a very long time.
Yeah, okay.
I see Aston in a very similar light. I just don't think they've got the driver pairing, and I don't think they've got as strong of a back of house than Williams.
Sure. Yep. No, I see what you're saying. It's just you just don't know with the old regulations, do you? It's like you've got me all excited about next year. They're going to win the championship, which they might, but they might also come last. And we have no idea.
Yeah, this is literally it. Yeah, like I could be this time next year just going, fuck, that was a stupid year for Williams. But no, like, yeah, it's hard to see their weak points, but I think if they do have weak points, we're going to see them very fucking quick.
Yeah, okay.
So I think I said in the first couple of episodes, the first 5-10 races are going to be big for Williams, for McLaren and Mercedes. I think for Williams, the first race is the most important race of our season. If we can hit the ground running, and I'm not talking winning a race, but if we can finish top 5 with one of our drivers in the first race, it shows our intention. And I know that we've got the people there to build upon that year, but we need a top 4 finish in the first race, in my opinion.
All right.
Well, thank you for watching the longest episode of this series, because it's my favorite team. And thank you for listening. If you listened, if you want to reach out to us to tell us that you're enjoying it and to tell us that you're now a Williams fan because they're the best team on the fucking planet, then please do. Just search Formula Fools on any of the socials. You'll find us there. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, use the comment section. Drop us a little comment to review these episodes and tell us how you're going with it. And make sure you come back tomorrow. We're going to have another episode with Racing Bulls tomorrow. What a team. It's going to be a fucking great episode. Skin's hyped for it. Excited. So make sure you come back for that one. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Hell yeah.